My name is Daniel Sandoval, also known as Xhover, and I own Xhover.com. I feel like FPV is freedom. If you've always wanted to fly, you kind of get that sense. It's just something indescribable. You can get an adrenaline rush without physically getting hurt. Xhover started, that was like my flight name. And then I went to a barbecue one day. A bunch of guys got together, they started flying. Like, I guess I was a good pilot back then compared to a lot of people. They're like, you should make your own frame or you should do this. So I was like, I'd love to, I just don't know how to design a frame. I don't know anything about CAD work or anything. So I got the courage, started learning everything about SolidWorks, and I was up endless nights. That's how I came up with my first frame, and it was just called an Xhover MXP230. As soon as I got my first cell, within like 2 minutes, I kind of had a feeling that I could see myself doing this for a long term. So how we start a frame, the whole process is we got to figure out what size props we're going to be using. Once we have the size props, we got to figure out if it's going to be a 20 by 20 or a 30 by 30 stack, which components we plan on running in there. Once we have all that, then I'll do a rough layout, put the props in place, and then kind of start designing the main plate. Once the main plate is designed, then we'll do the bottom plate, top plate, then the arms, and then that's pretty much how we start the whole frame. And then after we get a rough draft like that, then we'll do modifications as we go on. After we get a design assembled and we know everything's gonna fit fine, then we'll cut a prototype in-house, and then we'll assemble that, make sure it flies good, everything fits good. And once we assemble it and send it out to some customers that want to try it out before we have it on the store or to team pilots, everything looks good, we'll place a mass production order, we'll package everything up and send it out to you guys, and you guys will have fun with it. So another thing we do at Xhover is we actually do builds. So if you don't feel like building it yourself, and we really do encourage people to build it themselves, they might not have the time, or they're not tech savvy, don't know how to solder. We can do that for you. So I'll take you guys to the room where everything goes down. This is the build room. So we got a bench here, and then we got a bench here. We'll install the components, we'll solder everything up. Once we finish everything up here, we'll take it to the computer, program everything. Once everything looks good, we'll take them outside for a test flight, make sure the video works, make sure the motors are working, make sure it's hovering for over a minute, just to make sure when you guys get it in your doorstep, you're not gonna plug it in and something's gonna catch fire. So we do all the check. We have a checklist where we check all that off, make sure everything's good. So these are some of the builds that are gonna be going out soon, and that's pretty much it. I'm flying the Stingy V2 Forged this is a 6S version, and IX12 with Crossfire, Fat goggles, and the props are just whatever I could find at the shop. So the early flight controller that I was using back then was Multi-Wii, and compared to Betaflight, I mean, if anybody were to look at that, they think it's weird. It's not intuitive, it's not easy. And then CC3D came out, and that was like the flight controller to get. And back then, if you were to fly that same setup compared to now, it wouldn't feel like a tuned quad, but back then, that was butter. We had to mess with a lot of numbers. The props were a big factor too, the battery, the weight, and not every quad was the same. That's what would make it hard. So you can have two identical quads, have the same tune, and one's gonna fly better than the other. So you would literally have to change the numbers on both of them and get them right. And I think people don't understand how hard it was back then, where literally you would crash, and a slight crash, you'd break a prop. Now you can crash like 20 times and the prop will be good. Back then, the props that I was buying, they were like $8 per prop. Now you can buy props for like as low as 30 cents. Just because I don't get to fly as much, I love collaborating with pilots like Stingy, Air Blaster, and even customers when they send me their feedback that they want something different on a frame. Just having the feeling that my pilots and our customers are having fun with our product, I think that makes it enough for me to be happy, and that kind of makes up for me not going to fly FPV. As long as I can get other people in the air and help them out, that makes me just as happy as flying FPV. My name is Daniel, and I FPV.